All right, and we're recording. I'm going to start with question number 2, which is, how has socioeconomic status affected you in the classroom? And all kids bring a variety of experiences and baggage and background with them. And so anytime that somebody is from a lower economic status, those present challenges when you're thinking about projects and resources that family has available to them. But the same could be said with higher. That brings a whole other expectation of trouble too, maybe higher family expectations and a perfection that maybe they're having trouble achieving. The thing with higher economic status that you need to think about is that they have a broader sense of resources available to them and a skill set to find those resources, whereas usually lower ones do not. So you just have to educate, you have to offer resources, and equal the playing field in your classroom. A student with lower socioeconomic status might not have parents who are available to help them with work at home because they are working or they're doing shift work and their parents are switching and there's not a lot of support for the multiple siblings. So you as a teacher need to be aware of what's going on at home and then how you can best serve them in the classroom. Now, just because somebody has a different economic status does not mean that they are inadequate or they cannot achieve the same as maybe a higher economic status student. So what troubles have students classified in low income raised in your classroom, and has there been anything you cannot help with? Well, there's a lot that you cannot do as a teacher. You cannot fix everybody's situation. However, low, a lot of time come without clothes, they come without food. So you just find ways to help them and resources that are available to them. They might not have Thanksgiving dinner. They might not have Christmas presents. So you need to be aware of those. If they fall under a homeless situation, there's usually people in our district that are available to them that can guide them. Somebody might not have shoes. You can run to Walmart during your lunch hour and just get a pair of shoes or a pencil or a backpack. You just got to make yourself available to the students and say, what can I do to support you? What do you need? What can I help you with? Here, I've got Valentine's. Do you not have Valentine's? But I usually open it up to the whole class. Even if somebody might be perceived as higher income, it does not mean that they are. They could still be struggling at home. There might be a divorce situation or death in the family that is causing something to happen. So those things, you just kind of have to give the resources to them. There's oftentimes things you cannot help with, but maybe you just need to be a listening ear. I had a student last week who needs glasses, and I could not figure out a way to get him glasses. And so finally I just texted a whole bunch of friends and said, does anybody know an eye doctor that could help me out? And lo and behold, within 10 minutes I had an eye appointment made and a donation of glasses given. So sometimes you just have to ask your own people if they can come support your classroom as well. And I just wish the other question I'm going to answer is, what do you wish you knew by somebody coming into my classroom? But I wanted to answer number 5 was, what do I wish you knew about social economic status that you did not before you started teaching? And I think I touched on this before at the first clip, but it just impacts everything, every aspect of your child's life in the classroom, whether it's if they're hungry, if they're clothed, if they're worried about mom and dad, they're working, making ends meet, are they going to be here tomorrow? I just wish I knew that the impact it had upon my everyday teaching, that it didn't matter what lesson I had, how great my lesson was. If the kids are not secure emotionally or where they need to be, then it won't matter what you do in the classroom. And so just being creative about how to best meet their needs, I think, is the biggest part of teaching.
I wish I had prior teaching on how to approach it with parents. A lot of parents get very defensive if you start asking questions or start offering things. So just a better idea of resources and ways to approach it with people. Mm-hmm. So last year it caused a few issues. The one student I had who didn't have the same clothes as everybody, they were definitely worn out. Sometimes he smelled. Students definitely noticed. They never directly pointed it out to him. But you could just tell the way they acted around him or things that they would say away from him. You could tell that students do notice those kinds of things. What I know about socioeconomic status is that it has a very big impact on students' learning, and at our school especially, it affects kids' lives in so many ways that you don't even think about before you become a teacher. All of the staff here at our school would literally do anything for kids. As far as like outside resources, I don't have any clue. Like I just know that people here, the nurse has a lot of extra clothing. We'll send them there. I know that there's a program that sends home bags of food if kids are hungry. And we just like get into contact with our principals if we have a student that we think needs that. I have a lot of kids. I had a lot of kids last year who would come to school hungry. I feed my students snacks every single day from my own pocket. A lot of them have snacks at home, but I think they don't feel like they can bring it to school because parents won't like that. I've had a few students who need new clothing. Usually we send them to the nurse if they need new clothing and we get it figured out for them. Last year I had a student who a previous teacher had bought shoes for the previous years, and mom was not very happy about that. I think part of the reason parents' perception on it here is because we're all military connected and they do not like to feel like they're being given a handout.